Hey guys, Johnny here with Asphalt Paving Marketers. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to get your Google business profile ranked in the top three. No hacks, no gimmicks, no secret 14-day trick bullshit, just the real stuff that actually moves the needle in 2026. We do one of these every week, and this time we're breaking down a real asphalt contractor in Houston, A1 Construction Services. I'm going to pull up their live heat map, show you exactly where they're ranking, where they're losing leads, and the specific moves that takes a business like this from a few $1,000s a month from leads from their Google business profile to potentially a couple $1 million a year off their Google map pack alone just by ranking in that top three. So let's get right into it.
Hello. All right. So it went really well last time that we did a walkthrough on how to rank for a certain area for a certain business. So last time we did demolition contractor. This time we're going to do asphalt contractor. I chose Houston just because Houston is a pretty populated area. I would say it's pretty difficult in any home service just because it's so big. So we did asphalt contractor Houston. Again, we primarily work with the Google business profile area. So this right here, because 9 times out of 10 customers are going to bypass the sponsor post, they're going to bypass the sponsored result area, and they're going to come right here to the Google Map Pack. So this is where 60 to 70% of the high quality customers come from. And again, if I'm an unbiased opinion, I am looking at these four. They're all pretty great. I mean, Houston's All Pro Asphalt has 114 5-star reviews, so I might choose them first. These guys have 103. These guys have 96. So everyone's pretty close. Again, if I was any of these, like if I was the pavement services, I would really look to get an extra 20 to 30 reviews because that's probably all it takes from getting, these guys probably now get maybe 5 calls a month in a place like Houston, only because they have the least amount of reviews. If they were just to add 30 reviews, they're already ranking, they could go from 5 calls to maybe 20 to 30 calls because right now I'm going to assume these guys are getting majority of the traffic coming in. Like if I'm, again, unbiased customer, I'm choosing these guys first to get a quote just because, again, the reviews look solid. They have an area on them. If we look at it, they've got pictures, they've got videos on here too, so that's some good. So again, Pump Pavement Services focusing heavily on getting an extra 30 reviews in the next month, especially because right now season is coming up, and so extra 30 reviews equals an extra $500,000 in 2026. I am busting my ass to make that happen. So let's go to more places. Again, most customers don't do this. If Asphalt Contractor Houston doesn't show the businesses that they're looking for, most of the time customers are just going to change what they're searching for. So maybe just Asphalt Contractor or Houston Asphalt Contractor. So we're going to come down to A1 Construction Services and we'll see. So they have 70 reviews. So they definitely don't have the most, but let's go ahead and check and see how we can, if I was their marketing company or if I was the owner of A1 Construction Services, how can we get this Google business profile to rank here in the top three? All right, so first thing that we always do is we are going to see how we are ranking. So let's take A1 Construction Services. We're going to go to Lead Snap. This is what we use in order to create the heat maps. So here is the paving contractor in Houston. This looks good. Our key term that we look for. So what we're always going to do is we're going to find whatever their main category is, which is asphalt contractor, which is normally what, if you're an asphalt paving business owner, that's what you're going to put in here. If I can spell it right. And then we're going to put the city name. So asphalt contractor Houston. Pretty simple. This is a good area of Houston. So it's about, let's do miles. So about 2 miles, almost 3 miles. So we're going to go to the local map pack and then we're going to scan this. So let me pause this until it finishes. All right, so kind of what we assumed, if they are ranking, number 4 in such a competitive area, that their heat map is probably going to be pretty good. So this is their heat map, pretty similar to our demolition guide that we did last week. So again, these 2s, 3s, 4s, this is probably where their office is. So if we go in a little bit, so Jersey Village, let's go back to here. And then I think if we find them, they're probably right here. Yep, in Jersey Village. Okay, cool. So this is kind of showing that proximity is such a huge ranking factor. And one of the big reasons that we always say, put a live address on your Google business profile, because having that live address is going to build so much trust with Google. Because most of the time, if you're a legitimate business, you have an address, at least in Google's eyes. I'm not saying in real life, but in Google's eyes, if you have a real address that's on your Google business profile, you're more real of a business, so they can trust you more. Usually, the businesses that are service area businesses that have an address hidden, a lot of people like me, marketing people, they can create those, and so they can just be fake businesses. It's a lot harder nowadays in 2026 to get a Google Business Profile live with an address because you have to jump through so many hoops. You have to turn your location on your phone. You have to submit a 2-minute video. You have to show signage of your business. You have to show the outside of your office. You have to show your trucks. You have to show you actually unlocking your office door. You have to show you sitting at your office desk. So all these things, it's just so much harder to fake nowadays. And like I said, there's plenty of marketing guys, people in third world countries that can create these Google business profiles with a service area business without an address because you don't have to jump through those hoops in order to create the Google business profile. So Google is really prioritizing proximity. So as we can see, right around their office, A1 Construction Services, they're doing really well. And then as they start to get farther away from their office, that's when their rankings begin to go downhill. I always say a Google business profile is kind of like a radio signal. So the closer you are to that radio signal, the more powerful it is, or the higher quality of a signal you're going to get from that radio. And the farther you get away from it, that's when you start getting more static. So here's the static out here. It's definitely not bad still to be, all the way, what is this, southeast. You're ranking 8 and 9s and 10s. So it's not 20s, which is great. So these guys are doing pretty good. I would, get some more backlinks, even though they're doing really well. I would say, if they are not a member of the Chamber of Commerce, that's always a great first step. It's about $500, $600 one time for the whole year. You don't have to redo it after a year. So it's a one-time fee, but it's well worth it because that is such a powerful, trusted website that Google sees as such a value, and they're all hyper local to your city. So there's a Houston Chamber of Commerce. I guarantee it. There's probably I don't know, one probably in like Conroe, I would say. So, but start with your local one, which is going to be Houston, get that Chamber of Commerce link, see what it does, and then move on from there. But this is looking like a pretty good heat map. So I did this presentation really quick, just kind of like walk through first steps. This is what you should always do. Let's say you've never ran a heat map before, or you're looking to really focus on ranking your Google business profile. So like last week, what we can do is we will see how many pages are indexed. So let's come here, we'll open this tab. Pavement services, we'll get the top 3 guys. And then we'll see how many pages of content they have on their page. So again, site colon, and then this will show us that they have 62 pages that are indexed. Our number 2 guy has 59 pages. And then, excuse me, that one didn't work. What's going on? Services. Let's see. Let's try it again. Oh, maybe because it's .html. That's why we can't find it. So that's not good. But let's see. Let's try this. Oh, so this one, their site is .html, not ideal, and these guys are ranking number 1. Again, like I said last week, so rankings, having content on your website obviously is very important, but a lot of these businesses have been around for, let's say, like this website. Again, no offense to them, but it's not the most updated, I would say, but they've probably been around forever. They probably have someone at their office that answers every single phone call that comes in. And so Google sees their goal completion as being very high. And again, goal completion is a customer looks up Asphalt Contractor Houston. They call the business number and that business answers. They stay on the phone for a good amount of time. And then that customer doesn't call another business. Google sees that as goal completion. So, and Google can find this out because Google bought Android a few years ago. They didn't buy that for goodwill. They bought that for information. So although this website, not very pretty, HTML, they've probably been around forever, and they probably have really good goal completion when someone calls in. So, but that does mean that there are areas that the A1 Construction Services that they can take over and that they can get into this top 3 because there are flaws in the top 3 guys. So let's look up how many pages these guys have. So these are our A1 guys. So the other 2 had about 60 pages indexed. These guys have 90. So that tells us that if they're ranking number 4 and they have 90 pages, their content is probably not that good, I would say. Like, yeah, okay, so back in the day, people used to create these location pages. And so what it would be is just They'd put every single city that is in their local area. It'd be like the exact same content on these pages. So Asphalt Contractor in Galveston, the weather. Okay, yeah. So about Galveston. So this used to work. We used to do this. It would basically show Google that, hey, like we are local to Galveston. Like all this is just kind of shitty content, honestly. So that could be why that although they have 90 pages indexed, it's probably a lot of, so look at, here's another, and see how the pages look exactly the same. They have the driving directions. Yeah. So again, this used to work really well. Doesn't work now. And I'm sure they have probably, 20 pages on their website that look exactly the same. So Katy, Texas, Rosenberg, Texas, Kingwood, Texas. And again, they're all looking the exact same. So not my favorite. I would say instead of doing like this kind of junk content, again, Google is looking for quality content now, especially in the age of AI, where you could build 100 pages on Google by the end of the day today, especially with AI built websites like Lovable, and then you have AI content that you can use. It's just Google is really prioritizing legitimate, actual content, not just AI slop. So if I was A1 Construction, so I'd come back in here, I would definitely get rid of these location pages just because they're not really serving you. And then I would come into these services, and this is where I would really start to add more content. So like here, new construction, asphalt mate, like this is the only content on the website when it comes to the services of asphalt. So this is an asphalt contractor, Google 20 words, 50 words, and not even like actual, hey, this is what we do. This is what seal coating is. This is what crack filling is. It's just like, hey, this is what we do. So this is the kind of stuff that's like, man, it's these little tiny details can really get this business here into the top 3 in a huge area like Houston. So if they would prioritize actual content on their website, if we check out their, let's do this. We'll run a basic audit. So this is GMB everywhere that we use. So these are the categories that are on their Google business profile. So what we do is each one of these categories should have their own specific page on their website. So like right here, if we go to other services, like this is the other services basically that's that they're talking about in their categories. Each page should have, or each category should have their own page, and each page should have about 1,000 words, 500 to 1,000 words, just specifically for line marking, just specifically for excavating contractor. And then in addition to that, so once you build out these pages here that are your categories, then you go to the services. So these services you're able to add in on your own. These categories there's only a specific amount of categories on Google. But these services, you can put in as many services as you want. So we build out content, and relative in how we build out good content is by taking the categories, building out a page, and then taking out the services, and then building out a page about one of these, and then taking the services, and then you build out a page for each one of these. So concrete services, commercial and municipal paving, commercial asphalt paving, asphalt repair. So each one of those should have its own page here. So again, instead of doing all those location pages, these are the pages that Google actually wants to see. And I would assume if you're able to, again, and I'm going to say if A1 Construction, if they focused on getting more reviews, if they got rid of the location pages, and if they added an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if they added an extra 25 pages that were focused on categories and services, get that backlink from their local chamber of commerce, I would say that this map would go from looking like this to, let's look at this. Maybe a little better. I would say something like this. Like that's the kind of quality content that Google wants in order to trust you. So just imagine these guys are probably making $1 million, $2 million a year just from their Google business profile. So pavement services, are they in here? Yeah, pavement services. So these were the guys that had 96 5-star reviews. Those guys are probably making $1 million, $2 million a year just from this Google business profile alone. And then our guys, the A1 Construction Services, they're probably doing, I don't know, $200,000, $300,000 from their Google business profile because they're only ranking in the west of Houston. So hopefully that was informative. Let's go back, see if I missed anything. So run our heat map, figure out what stage the business is on. So I would say the stage that A1 Construction is on is a little bit of trust and a little bit of topical relevance. Like we want to dial that in better. We want to get the services and category pages on their website. We want to get a backlink to the Chamber of Commerce. Do those things for the first 2 months. And then if their heat map is looking even something like this, their heat map's looking something like this, then this is when you start to go really hard in the location pages, but not just any generic location like what we saw. We actually do neighborhood pages, talk about the neighborhood, talk about actual paving in that neighborhood, not just content about the neighborhood. So trust equals more backlinks. So that would be the Chamber of Commerce. Topical relevance, more service pages. So that's what we talked about. And then geographical relevance is more neighborhood pages. So A1 construction services, you guys are looking really good. You guys are so close to crushing it on the Google Maps and becoming a multi-million-dollar business from the leads coming from your Google business profile. I'm sure you guys are getting leads at other places also, but in an area like Houston, that's got, let's see, Houston population, in an area that has 2.4 million people, a heat map that looks like this can bring in 2 million a year easily. So again, hopefully this was informative. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I have a link to our school community where you can jump in, ask me questions directly. I can do one of these heat maps for you. I also have a link down below that you can schedule a one-on-one with me. We can just talk about the business and we can just go into more detail about your goals, where you see your business and what you want your marketing to look like. So again, moving into 2026, brand is huge. Google loves a well-defined brand online. So people that have social medias that are on point, the Google business profiles are all buttoned up. They are relevant and local in their community. So those are the things that are moving the needle in 2026. It's not just about getting reviews and calling it a day. I personally believe that, reviews aren't a huge ranking factor. I think they're a big conversion factor. Once a customer finds you, I'm going to click on the guy that has the most reviews. But in order for Google to rank you, I just don't think that reviews really matter too much. So maybe some kind of review velocity. I'll get into that another time, but just, pound for pound ranking, if that was the case, this guy that had 30 reviews would be, up here at the top somewhere, not at the bottom. So take that into consideration. Thank you for being here. This is a little bit different. I got rained out of my office, so I'm kind of working in a different space, but I wanted to get this video out because I'm going to keep doing these weekly because I think they are just so beneficial for people to just be able to see where they're going. There's a lot of nonsense online right now. I mean, there's just a lot of, snake and oil salesmen trying to get your marketing for $50 a month. That's just not going to move the needle. You just have to put in the work in order to get your brand out there. There's no hacks or cheat codes around it. Like I see all these people out there. It's like, hey, the newest hack to get your Google business profile ranking. And it's just, there's not really a hack. Like you just have to do the work, put the good content on your website, make your brand stand out and be trusted in Google's eyes. And that's what's going to get your heat map looking like this if you're just starting out. Now, again, if you had a Google business profile for the past 30 years, you really don't have to do a lot of the stuff I'm saying because you've built up 30 years of trust in Google's eyes. But let's say you're a newer contractor, or maybe you have a Google business profile but haven't touched it in 5-10 years, then these are the things that you need to do in order to get your Google business profile ranked nowadays. And also these same things, building your brand, getting backlinks, being, relevant in your local community, that's what's going to really, pull in the AI mode. So when someone types in Asphalt Contractor, I think this is going to take over. The AI is going to pull in a lot of the top brands that are in the area. Again, not just the people that have the highest review count. So take that in consideration. You build out a really good brand online, usually the AI is going to pick up on it also. So rank your Google business profile, you rank in the AI, you're going to kill it for the next 10 years because that's the way the industry is moving. All right. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. And I'll see you next week.